Hey guys, welcome to Marimba with MK. So I just wanted to do a quick video about on the day of my grade 8 exam and how I organised my day and pre-planned some things. So as you probably guessed, I did it in marimba and snare drum. So with my marimba, I had to build it up at the centre. So for this I had to contact the ABRSM representative, and I also went to visit the centre itself. So in the email I asked, oh, my widest part of the marimba doesn't fit through a single door. So is there space for me to A, build it up, and B, from building outside of the room, is the door wide enough for me to wheel it into the exam room? And they emailed back saying there's plenty of space, it's fine. So the centre isn't too far away from me, so I just went to have a quick look to double check, just to calm myself down. And yeah, there was enough space. So then the night before, I finished all my practice and dismantled the marimba because I didn't really want to do anything on the day because I had an early slot, so I just wanted to relax and calm down. So then in the morning we packed up the car and we left an hour to build up the marimba, and we ended up spending the whole time building it up. So I didn't get a warm-up time because so ABRSM always said get to your exam 15 minutes before, and then you have 15 minutes, well, around 15 minutes or a bit less to warm up. So I didn't have that time. So when I went into the room, I just asked the examiner, can I just have a bit of a warm-up on my instruments? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So what I'd recommend is if you spent time building up your marimba or xylophone, and you don't get a warm-up time, ask the examiner, can I have a warm-up time? And most likely they'll say, yeah, you can have a quick warm-up, because they know you've had to build it up and wheel it in and that kind of thing. And also just be aware, if you are doing a percussion exam, before the exam, think about who you need to contact and how much space you need to build up the instrument, because it is something as a percussionist, I've become aware of, whereas other instruments like flute or violin, you just kind of take it in and it's fine. But yeah, we need to think about things like that. So also, before you go into the exam, off the ABRSM website, you can print off a grid, which is basically space for you to write down which order you want to play your pieces in. But if you don't do that, I think the stewards at the centres do also have a blank copy for you to fill in. And then for the exam, you basically dictate how you want to lay it out. So for me, the examiner kind of asked, what do you want to start with? So I started off with scales, and then I did my pieces, and then sight reading and orals. So for me, I wanted the exam to be how I practiced, because that's I do the scales first as a warm-up, and then my marimba piece, and then the snare pieces. So do whatever's comfortable, it's your exam, you can dictate that much. In terms of sight reading, for the percussion grade 8, the examiner can choose either the snare drum or the marimba. So what I would say is, if you get the snare drum for sight reading, a lot of it, well, it's all rhythm based, so spend a lot of time working out the first bar of rhythm and the last bar of the rhythms, and then in between you can if there's like septuplets or anything, work those out, and look at the time signature. If you get marimba or xylophone, then you've got to look at rhythm and pitch. So for me, I felt more comfortable doing it on the snare drum because it was only one thing to think about in my head, even though I was more confident on the marimba. And my sight reading isn't the best. But yeah, so just be aware of that. They choose, not you choose. And then also be aware that the orals are a lot longer for grade 8 than the other sections. And I just wanted to say quickly, for one of the sections of the orals, you have a characterization bit. So they play a piece and say, oh, describe the characters. Don't feel bad if you go blank, because it is a lot to try and think about as you're listening to it. So always mention the obvious. So dynamic changes, oh, it started off quiet, it got louder, it finished quietly, those kind of things. Think about the rhythms. So you could say, oh, the rhythms generally were long or they were too short. You can obviously go into more depth, but if you go blank, they're the kind of things you should think about. Think about if it's diatonic, if it sounded within a key signature, if it sounded major or minor, or if there were some notes where it didn't sound like it fitted in to a key signature or the other notes, then you'd have some chromatic notes, that kind of thing. Think about. And they also, I think, would like you to think of what kind of era it's from, so whether it's from Baroque or classical or modern, that kind of thing. So I'd recommend going online and just looking at, there are websites which give you like key characteristics for different genres. So for Baroque period, it might be polyphonic. So if you hear something that's polyphonic, you might go, oh, that could be in the Baroque style. Or if you hear some chromaticism or something dramatic with the piano, maybe big dynamic changes, that kind of thing, could be romantic. So just do your research beforehand for that section, because you can literally talk about anything you want, and it's a really easy way to gain some marks in the oral section. And that's pretty much it. Be aware of how long your exam is. So grade 8 is half an hour, and just be prepared to be in the exam room with your examiner for that long. When you walk into the exam room, shake the examiner's hand, introduce yourself. It might just help ease the tension between you. And yeah, I'll link my other video in below in the description, and that one's just about my top tips for grade 8, but they're transferable across any ABRSM exam, really. So yeah, if you've got an exam coming up, good luck, and I hope you find this video useful. Thank you.